Hello dear students. So today we will talk about the organic chemistry section from the first year. So in the first year we are having 2 units from the organic part, that is some basic concept and the second one is hydrocarbon. So let us talk about some of the basic concept on the theoretical part, which is going to play a very important role in the organic part. So let me tell you, organic is going to be a most important concept in the CET examination. The reason is that most of the questions are going to be there on the organic basis, because we got almost maximum portion of a second year syllabus is from the organic part, and to get all the questions from that part, it is very important to take most of the area from the first year. If the basics are clear from the organic chemistry of the first year, then understanding the second year chemistry and solving the question based on that is going to be on a very easy as well as very normal manner. So let us try to go with the first concept. When we talk about an organic, we will be having so many compounds. Then so many compounds are going to have their names. And most of the time I have seen that the student, why will they face a problem in the organic part is that having improper or having less knowledge about the nomenclature, about the name of a given compound. So when you are ready or when you are clear with the name of the given compound, then knowing the reactant, understanding the reactant, getting the product, knowing the product is going to be easy. And chemistry means there has to be a chemical reaction, and especially organic means there will be a n number of reaction. So in the first year also you are having few named reaction. When we go with the second year syllabus, you will get so many named reactions, and the named reactions are basically a question into the examinations. But we will be unable to understand whether it is a named reaction or not. The reason will be for that is what? Either if I don't know the name of reactant for that particular reaction, then automatically understanding the reactant and getting the product will become a very difficult task. So let me tell you the nomenclature. We got two types of nomenclature, the IUPAC and the common. Common are going to be easy because only few names will be there for a common, but IUPAC is going to be what? A large one. The reason is that it follows rules and the regulations. It is going to follow the rules and regulation. So I suggest you to get as maximum as possible, examples on the nomenclature. You at least go on solving 20 example on each functional group containing substances. When you are ready with the nomenclature, then definitely I assure you that you will be having an 100% confidence to solve all the organic questions. See, physical chemistry sometime whether it is going to be what less part into the examinations, but it is not going to be that easy as we think into the CET examinations, because physical chemistry involve a much of logical calculations there. The inorganic required so many data there, whereas organic, it is just what a reactant, the condition of the reactions and the product. What are the three parts of a chemical reactions from the organic is going to be reactant, the conditions of the reaction and the product. Only if I have an awareness or knowledge about these three aspects, what are the reactants for a particular reaction, what are the conditions for the particular reaction, and what will be the product. So I assure you that you will be very easy to solve all the questions based on organic chemistry, so that the best important is going to be the IUPAC. So I will take a few rules because it is what a basic part. Whenever you have any organic compound, first we need to select the longest continuous carbon chain. See, if we see here 1, 2, 3, 4, there are 4 carbon atoms into this part, whereas 1, 2, 3 parts are there into this, 3 carbon atoms are there in this part. Means what? This is going to be a longest one. This will be a longest one because this contains 4 carbon atoms. So what will be the first rule? Selection of longest continuous carbon chain, that will be called as apparent chain. That will be called as the apparent chain. So first your duty will be to select the longest continuous carbon chain, which is going to be called as a parent chain, or sometimes we call as a root word, or sometimes we call as a root word, like meth, eth, prop, but, pent. These are the root word. Then the remaining part, it may be a substituent or it may be a functional group. It may be a substituent or it may be a functional group. For in the present example, it's a CH3. So it's an alkyl part, a methyl part. So it's a substituent, or we may say that it's a branch. So first you select longest continuous carbon chain. That chain will be called as the parent chain. Second, you are supposed to number the parent chain. You are supposed to number the parent chain from either of side. It may be from a right as well as left. But the rule says that whichever direction you will choose to number the parent chain, that direction will be given a preference by which wherever substituent is connected, wherever branch is connected, should get the lowest possible position. Should get the lowest possible position. So if I number from a right side, then it is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So from the right side, we are getting the substituent called as an CH3 at the second position. And if we number it from a left side, 1, 2, 3, 4. From the left side, we are getting the CH3 at the third position. So between 2 and the 3, the lowest is going to what? 2. So this will be your actual direction or actual side of a numbering. So first rule says that you need to select the longest continuous carbon chain called as a parent chain, then number the chain by that side so that lowest possible position will be given. It may be a substituent or it may be a functional group. If there are more than one substituent, then you are supposed to take the sum. You number from both the direction. Wherever the substituent is connected, you add both the substituent position, and whichever total sum will be lower, that will be the actual direction. Sometimes the sum will be same from both the sides, then you can number it from any side. But if sum is the same from both the sides, whereas the group connected are different, like it's a methyl ethyl or ethyl propyl, then go for alphabetic order. Go for the alphabetic order. Follow that direction by which the substituent coming first in the alphabetic order will get the lowest position. So this is all regarding nomen. And for the functional groups, you need to add all the prefixes and suffixes. So you got the data from the first year itself, the alcohol, the aldehyde, the ketone, the carboxylic acid, these are all functional group. So others are also there. You get the suffixes for all these functional group, get the prefixes for all the functional group, because sometime a given one compound will contain more than one functional group. In that cases, you should be able to know which is the principal functional group, which is the secondary, because choosing a principal functional group is most important in the compound having more than one functional group, and that choice will be done by using a priority order. Whatever so far theoretical data we have sent you into the groups, you can see that data, all the data related to this part has been already given in the scanned copies form. So I suggest you, before you have the videos of a particular lecture for a particular units, I have told you into the last classes also, last videos also, you first read it by your own, the theory part. Then you go for watching a video. That will be an easy way of understanding. Then talking about isomerism. So isomerism is one of the most important part of not only a first 2 unit of a first year organic chemistry, it will go for entire organic chemistry. And most of the time, we won't say that it is 100%, but most of the time there are the questions related to isomerism. So I suggest you get all the types of isomerism with a proper manner, so that at least you will be able to fetch that 1 mark in an easy way. You will be able to get that 1 mark in an easy. So what will be an isomerism? It is what the compounds having same molecular formula. Molecular formula should be same, the other properties are going to be different. So it may be a physical property, it may be a chemical property, it may be their structures, etc. Then basically 2 types of isomerism we are having, the structural isomerism and the stereo. The structural is what? The compounds have same molecular formula, but structures are different. Structures are the arrangement of atom of the molecular formula is different, we call it as structure is different. Now structural are again, actually 5 are there, we have a tautomerism also. We got the so first we are going to have the chain isomerism. What will be a chain isomerism? Compounds having same molecular formula but the arrangement of atom in the carbon chain is different, or we say that carbon chains are different. So you can see these are bond line representation. These are what? Bond line representation. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here there are 4 carbon atoms. Whereas if you see here 1, 2, 3 and the branch 4 carbon. Means both are having same molecular formula because all are singly bonded alkenes only. Okay. Whereas here it's a normal chain without a branches. Whereas here you can see that there is a branch. There is a branch at the second position. So what is the difference between these two compounds? Molecular formula is same, but the arrangement of carbon atom, or we say that carbon chains are different. So chain isomerism means carbon chain should be different. By the name, that content should be different. Then a position isomerism. In the position isomerism, molecular formula will remain same, carbon chain will also remain same, but the position of a functional group will be different. But the position of a functional group will be different. So if you see here, by the nomenclature, first, second, third, or first, second, third. So this is called as a symmetrical type of compound. A symmetrical means what? By both the direction, if we get a same position, then it is called as a symmetrical. So here the position of an OH is 2, whereas here 1, 2, 3, and this is what? 1. So lowest is 1 here. So what is the position of the OH here? It's a 1. See, carbon chains are different. Here also chain of a 3 carbon atom. Here also chain of a 3 carbon atom. So carbon chains are same in both the compound. Only the position of the functional groups are different. Here it is at first position. Here it is at second position. So position isomer means what? Carbon chains are going to be same. Molecular formula will be same, but the position of the functional group will be different. Position of the functional group is going to be different. Then the third, functional group isomerism. Functional group isomerism. As name suggests, a functional group will be different. This is not going to be common for all the compound. A chain will be common for almost all, but to have a different chain, there needs to be a minimum 4 carbon atom. With a 3 carbon atom, you cannot write any different chains. With a 3 carbon atom, all the chains are going to be same. So shortcut I will tell you. With a 1 carbon, with a 2 carbon, with a 3 carbon, chain isomerism is not possible. With a 1, 2, 3, chain isomerism is not possible. To have a chain isomerism, minimum we required a 4 carbon atom. Minimum we required a 4 carbon atom. Whereas for a position, with a 2 carbon atom, position isomerism is not possible. See, here it's going to be first, here we think that it's a second, but actually numbering will start here. Actually numbering is going to start. So both the compounds, they are, it might be a different for us, but by the nomenclature these are same. By the nomenclature these are same. And when the nomenclature says that the compounds are same, then there is no difference in that. Means they are not position isomer of one another. Means to have a chain isomer, we need minimum 4. To have a position isomer, we need minimum 3. With the 1 carbon and with the 2 carbon atom, you cannot have a position isomer. We need required 3 minimum. For a chain, we require minimum 4. And functional group is not going to be in common. Functional group is shown by a limited compound. Like an aldehyde and ketone are functional group of one another. Aldehyde and ketone are functional group of one another. The alcohol and the ether are functional group of one another. The alcohol and ether are functional group of one another. Then the next type is what? Metamerism. Metamerism is not again shown by all the compound. Metamerism is shown by only the compound. Metamerism is shown by only the compound which have a heteroatom in their carbon chain. Which have a heteroatom in their carbon chain. So heteroatom having compounds are going to be either there should be an oxygen in between or there has to be a nitrogen in between. Either there should be an oxygen in between, then these are ethers. These are going to be our ethers. Or there has to be nitrogen, then such compounds are called as an amines. So most commonly these are the two families which can have the metamerism. In the metamerism, on either side of that heteroatom, you will be having a different arrangement. So here you can see that CH3, CH2, CH3, CH2. Whereas in the other compound, one side CH3, other side it is CH2, CH2 and the CH3. On either side of a functional group, different arrangement of carbon atom, then it is called as a metamerism. Alkene cannot show metamerism. Alcohol, phenol, aldehyde, ketone, carboxylic acid, they cannot, because they have the homo. Carbon will be having in the main carbon chain. Whereas here an oxygen can be also possible. In the amines, the nitrogen can be also possible. So they can have a maximum tendency or a possibility to go for a metamerism. And in the tautomerism, it is going to be auto change. Means what? A keto-enol form, we say that. It is going to be a keto-enol form. Means there will be a random changes with the ketone to alkene with the oxygen atom. Alkene oxygen, alkene OH, that is what alcohol with a keto. So it may be also called as keto-enol tautomerism. Keto-enol tautomerism. So this is all regarding. So what will be the type of question you may express? The question may be, they may ask you, what are the different possible chain isomer will be there for a respective molecular formula, structure formula? Choices are with them. They may give a molecular formula and ask you how many chain isomerism are possible. So for this compound only 2 arrangements were possible. So therefore only 2 are possible. If we go with a 5 carbon atom, then chances of writing a chain are going to be different. So then how many ways you can use to write that different chains? That will be equal to the number of chain isomers. For the position isomerism, for this compound only 2 positions are possible. With a 4 carbon atom also 2 positions are possible. With a 5 carbon atom we can have a 3 position, means 3 isomers are possible. A functional group, it is going to be one family to with the other family. Third family will not be possible. So give a more focus over maximum number of example for how many ways you can write for a chain isomer, how many possibilities for a position isomer. Sometime they may give a structure and will ask you the question, sometime only a formula will be given. When the structure is given and writing a different structure will be very easy, but if the formula is given, then you need to put your little bit more effort there, because you should understand the given formula, molecular formula, whether it belongs to which family. If you have only carbon and hydrogen, then the possibilities are either alkane or alkene or alkyne. Because only carbon and hydrogen means it is alkane, alkene or alkyne. Then you just see how many hydrogens are there in comparison with the carbon. We got a CnH2n plus 2, CnH2n and CnH2n minus 2. So by the number of hydrogen you will come to know that whether it is alkane, alkene or alkyne. If you have only one oxygen atom, then the choices are, it may be an alcohol, it may be ether, it may be phenol. To be a phenol, there should be a benzene ring. To be an alcohol, without a benzene ring. If we have the oxygen, it may be a even ketone possibility, aldehyde possibility. But if you have a general formula, then you can easily predict whether that belongs to an aldehyde, that belongs to an ketone, that belongs to an alcohol or phenol. If you have just an halogen, then they are going to be haloalkene. If you have nitrogen, then definitely they are going to be amide. If you got oxygen nitrogen, then it may be an amide. So get a general formula so that it will be easy to get which family it is. When you know the family, you can go for a structure, and when you write a different possible structure, then you can count how many are the chain possible, how many are the position possible. For the functional, try to go ahead, alcohol and the ether, aldehyde and the ketone, like that they are the functional. So sometime in spite of giving directly a family name, like aldehyde is a functional isomer with the alcohol, phenol, ether, ketones, they may give you one of the example, and for that example they will ask you to with which family it is possible. Then try to understand. The example belongs to an aldehyde, then ketone will be an answer. Example belongs to ketone, aldehyde will be an answer. Example belongs to alcohol, ether will be the answer, and if it is ether, alcohol will be the answer. So this is from structural isomerism point of view. Now talking about stereo. In the stereo, we got two types of geometrical and the optical. Geometrical is going to be called as again cis and trans. It is very easy, but cis and trans has a certain conditions. Try to understand the condition first. To be a geometrical isomer or to have a cis trans isomerism, the first and foremost important condition is there has to be either the double bond or a ring. There has to be either a double bond or a ring. This is the first condition. Second, each doubly bonded carbon should have two different groups. See, even if you have double bond and if a carbon has both the hydrogen, then they are similar, then they cannot show cis trans. Each doubly bonded carbon should have a different group. Carbon, the CH3H is allowed, HCl is allowed, ClBr is allowed. It may be any, but it should be different. If both are similar, CH3 not allowed, HH not allowed, Cl not allowed. So first condition for cis and trans, either there should be a double bond or ring. Second, each doubly bonded should have a different group. And the third, there should be if there is a double bond, 2 carbons are connected to the double bond. Then each doubly bonded carbon should have minimum 1 in common there. Whatever 2 groups are there with the carbon 1, at least one of those 2 groups should be there with the carbon 2. Otherwise, if carbon 1 has a AB, the carbon second has a CD, then all 4 groups connected to doubly bonded are different. Then we cannot have same and different. So one should be in common, at least one. If 2 are there, well and good there. So if you see just example, CH3, CH, CH, CH3, so 2-butene. The position of the pi bond is second, so but 4 carbon atom totally, and suffix of the double bond is ENE. So as you can see here, this doubly bonded has CH3H, another has CH3H. So as both the CH3 are on the same side, or both the hydrogens are on the same side, when we have 2 similar groups on the same side of the double bond, it may be up and down or it may be right and the left, then it is called as a cis isomer. Then it is called as the cis isomer. And when you have these on the opposite side of one another, one on a right side, other on a left side, or one above the other below, then they will be called as the trans isomer. Then they will be called as the trans. To have a cis and trans, let me again get the condition: a double bond or a ring. Second, each doubly should have a different group. Third, out of 4 groups, 2 should be common with each doubly bonded carbon. So this is for a geometrical, that is cis and the trans. The next is going to be an optical isomerism. Optical isomerism, this is going to be done by the polarimeter. We will take a substance into the polarimeter and we will pass a light which has a plane on all the direction. That light will first go through the Nicol prism, and Nicol prism will eliminate all the light and only one direction will be left, that is called as plane polarized light. Then when plane polarized light passes through the solution which is kept into the polarimeter, then that solution either it rotate the plane of a plane polarized light in the clockwise or in the anti-clockwise. Either it will go for a clockwise or it will go for an anti-clockwise. If it is a clockwise, that is what right side rotation, then it is called as dextro substance. Then it is called as the dextro substance. A dextro can be represented by small d or a positive sign, small d or a positive. And if it go for an anti-clockwise, then it is called as an LEO, which may be represented by L or minus, which is going to be represented by L or minus. The most important condition for that compound to have a optical rotation either in a clockwise direction or in an anti-clockwise direction, it should have a chiral carbon. It should have a chiral carbon. A carbon connected to 4 different groups. A carbon connected to A, B, the C and the D is called as the chiral carbon. Or it may be also called as asymmetric carbon or a stereocenter. The compound in which the central carbon is connected to 4 different groups, then it is going to have the optical possibility of isomerism. So then that compound may be also called as optically active compound, because now it is able to show optical isomerism. So therefore it may be also called as an optically active compound. If you don't have a chiral carbon, then whatever directions of a plane polarized light will be there, that remains as it is. Means compound is not rotating the plane polarized light. Then it is called as optically inactive. That is possible when there is no chiral carbon. If there is a chiral carbon, then it will show an optical rotation, either a dextro or LEO. Sometime what happens, if there are 2 chiral carbons, and if they are having some of the symmetry, one of the symmetry is called as a plane of symmetry. Then what happens, because of a plane of symmetry, the molecule get divided equally on both the sides. Then what chiral carbon will have a optical rotation? The other chiral carbon will have optical rotation in the opposite direction. It is going to have the optical rotation in the opposite direction. In such cases, the optical rotation shown by the first carbon get cancelled by the other carbon atom. So these are going to be mesotartaric acid will be one of the best example. So for optical isomerism, to show the compound must have the chiral carbon. What is chiral carbon? It should connect it to 4 different atoms. Then if it rotates the plane of a polarized light in the clockwise direction, it is called dextro. If it go for an anti-clockwise, it is called as a leo. And if we have a 50-50, 50 dextro, 50 leo, then it is called as a racemic mixture. Then it is called as a racemic mixture. We will be using in the SN1 and SN2 reactions. So this is all regarding the optical isomerism. So this is what structural isomerism part. This is geometrical and the optical. Now talking about the very simple species we will be having in a chemical reactions. These are what? Electrophile and the nucleophiles. Electrophile and the nucleophile. A charged species. If it is a positive charge, basically deficient. Negative charge, rich. So electrophile are deficient. So generally it is called as an E plus. Nucleophile are rich. These are going to be Nu minus. But they are not only charged. We have a neutral electrophile as well as neutral nucleophile. A neutral electrophile can be, see, these all are charged electrophiles. So as they have a charge, they are going to be a charged electrophile. If you have an AlCl3, this is neutral. The reason the aluminum connected to 3 chlorine atom has only a 3 bond. So it is lagging of octet. It has incompletion on octet. So it will try to gain the electron. It will try to gain the electron. So as it is gaining an electron, it is deficient. So this is therefore called as an electrophile. In this case, the sulfur is connected to 3 more electronegative oxygen atoms. So as these are electronegative oxygen atoms, they are going to pull the electron density from the sulfur. They will pull the density from the sulfur. So as they pull the density from the sulfur, sulfur is going to have a delta plus charge. Sulfur is going to have the delta plus charge. So delta plus stands for a partial deficiency. So even it is deficient, therefore it is also an electrophile. In the nucleophile, negative are you can easily understand. About the neutral, the central atom, if it contains the lone pair, maybe 1 lone pair or 2 lone pair, basically these are oxygen or nitrogen containing because they have the lone pair. Oxygen has the 2 lone pair. In the chemical bonding, we have an idea, nitrogen has the 1 lone pair. So water and ammonia are going to be a neutral nucleophile. So we have most important reactions also, the Wurtz reaction. So in the Wurtz reaction, we will be having a reactions of haloalkane or alkyl halide. The haloalkanes, the 2 moles of an haloalkanes or alkyl halide will react with a sodium metal in a dry ether conditions, and R part, R generally stands for an alkyl part, is going to have a clubbing there. It is going to connect with one another, and you are going to end up with an alkene there. You are going to end up with an alkene. So one common rules are there. If we have 2 similar haloalkanes, then the number of carbon atom into the product are going to be twice of the reactant. So as you can see that reactant has only 1 R, whereas in the product there are 2 R. So if your reactant has 1 carbon atom, product will have 2 carbon. If reactant has 2 carbon atom, product will have 4. If reactant has 3, product will have 6. Reactant has 4, product will have 8. Means by a Wurtz reaction, when we have equal number of, when we have similar molecules, you will get an alkane which contain even number of carbon atom. You will get an alkane which will contain even. So you may get a question from Wurtz reaction. Which of the following product is not possible from the Wurtz reaction? The options may be methane, ethane, butane and the hexane. See, ethane, butane, hexane, they contain even number, whereas methane contain 1 carbon, propane contain 3, pentane contain 5. So by the Wurtz reaction, when we have 2 similar molecules, you will get with the even number. If the molecules are different, then we can have the odd number. And with the even number, twice of the reactant will be the product, carbon in the product. If it is 1 here, the product should have 2. 2 here, the product should have 3. You give a more focus for Wurtz because most of the time Wurtz is going to be related for a competitive. Then second we got on a ozonolysis. This is a reaction shown by alkene. We may have a alkene symmetrical or as well as unsymmetrical. Do remember, if the alkene is symmetrical, you will get both the products similar. Whether it is going to have a carbon to a hydrogen to the doubly bonded carbon, then both are going to be aldehyde. If there is no hydrogen with a doubly bonded carbon, both will be a ketone. But if the alkene is symmetrical, both aldehyde will be similar, both ketones will be similar. If we don't have a symmetrical alkene, then definitely products are going to be different. Depending on whether carbon has an hydrogen, then aldehyde. If both the carbon don't have an hydrogen, then both are going to be ketone. So I have taken one example here. So it's about ethene. So ethene, when you cleave it exactly by the center, you will get CH2 and the CH2. Means you are going to get two similar parts. So it is a symmetrical alkene. So you can see that products are also same. HCHO formaldehyde, HCHO form. So when we have a ozonolysis of an alkene which is symmetrical, then you are going to get the similar product. If a doubly bonded carbon has an hydrogen, definitely aldehyde will be the product. If a doubly bonded carbon don't have an hydrogen, then ketones will be the product. In the second example, as you can see here, when I cleave it across the double bond, one part is CH2, other part is CH3CH. The two parts are not same, they are different. So definitely they are going to get two different products. One will be CH3CHO, an aldehyde, other going to be HCHO, an aldehyde. But this is what CH3CHO, it is going to be an acetaldehyde, other is HCHO, this is an formaldehyde. As alkene was symmetrical, two were the similar product, whereas alkene is unsymmetrical, two are the different. So do remember, alkene with the symmetrical nature, similar product, alkene with a different nature, that is unsymmetrical, different will be the product. Then this is also one of the most important, the benzene. So in the organic chemistry first year, you got substitution reaction. The substitution of what? You are going to substitute an electrophile over the benzene, therefore they are called as the electrophilic substitution reactions of the benzene. So we got a Friedel-Crafts alkylation and the acylation. Both are Friedel-Crafts. In one reaction you are going to substitute an alkyl group generally represented as R plus, it may be CH3 plus, it may be C2H5 plus, so on. Another is what? An acylation. Acylation means you are going to substitute an acyl group. RC plus O, where R may be again methyl, ethyl, propyl, butyl, so on. A CO is going to be a common part there. Second, we got a nitration of a benzene. In the nitration of benzene, you will be substituting a NO2 group, which is electron withdrawing NO2 group. So as NO2 group is called as nitro, therefore reaction is called as nitration of benzene. And in the sulfonation, you are going to substitute a SO3 group, then followed by H. So final substitution is going to be SO3. So do remember, in the alkylation as well as acylation, we have an electrophile which has a positive charge. In the nitration, we have an electrophile with a positive charge. If you go for a basic chlorination, that is halogenation, we will be having a X plus, if you go with the generally, and if you specifically chlorination, Cl plus, and in the sulfonation, the electrophile is SO3. So do remember, for all these other reactions, the electrophile is charged one. The electrophile is what? The charged one. Whereas for a sulfonation, there is an electrophile which don't have a charge. It's a neutral electrophile. So I cleared here. In SO3, the sulfur is connected to 3 more electronegative oxygen atoms. They all are more electronegative than the sulfur. So they will pull the density from the sulfur. So sulfur will get a delta plus. So delta plus stands for a deficiency. So therefore SO3 is going to be called as an electrophile. Therefore SO3 is going to be called as an electrophile. So this is what some of the basic part from the first year organic sections. You try to get all these concepts cleared. You go on reading the theory part, whatever is available with you, it may be in the notebook as well as into the textbook. When you get clearance with all this part, then you will be able to understand what next the MCQs or the competitive level previous year question paper as well as the other question paper, what we will be solving for the completion of this part. So try to get all this part clear, because this is going to play very important. These reactions are not there only for a first year concept basis. Even I may take again a nitration, sulfonation, Friedel-Crafts, alkylation, acylation for a second year organic part also. Only the difference is that here the focus is for a benzene. We are taking all this reaction in consideration with the benzene. When I go for a phenol family, I'll be talking about again acylation, alkylation, nitration, sulfonation, but in place of a benzene it will be a phenol there. In place of a benzene it will be a chlorobenzene. In place of a benzene it is going to be an anisole. In place of a benzene it will be benzaldehyde, benzoic acid, acetophenone, benzophenone. So only the host is going to change. The reactions are going to be same. Only your host is going to change. When we talk about an isomerism, here only a respect with an alkane, but it is going to be for an alkene, it is going to be an alcohol, it is going to be an ether. So these all are related to all the organic parts what will be dealing with respect to the second day syllabus. So try to take all these concepts in an easy manner. Few reactions I have explained, only few are not there, still there are. I'll be taking some of the reactions directly with the MCQs because they don't have much of the importance, whereas these are what few which is going to be most important. So this is all regarding the theoretical part. So let us take first question. Which of the following compound will exhibit cis-trans isomerism? So the question is based on geometrical isomerism, that is cis and trans isomerism. So I told you in the theory part that the cis-trans isomerism possible will be only when there are two conditions followed, or any one out of the two conditions are followed. The conditions were at least there should be a pi bond or else a ring should be there. So if you see the options here, it's a butane all stands for an alcohol, butadiene stands for a triple bond, butene, that is but2ene stands for a double bond, and butane 2-ol, and again it is an alcohol. So option A and option D will not be an answer. The reason is that they are alcohol, and as they are alcohol, they don't have any pi bond there, means what? They cannot be an option there. Now remains the but2ene and but2yne. A triple bond can have only one atom to the carbon atom, whereas a double bond can have a two atom. Straight away this will be the answer. Still if you rectify, it's a but2ene, means there are 4 carbon atoms. And what is the position of a double bond? It's a second from either upside. You may take from a right side as well as from a left side. Then the remaining are, this is going to be H3, even this will be H3, one hydrogen here, one hydrogen here. So as you can see here that there is hydrogen CH3 to this doubly bonded carbon, hydrogen CH3 to this doubly bonded carbon. Means when we have both the hydrogens on the same side, then it will become a cis isomer. It is going to be a cis isomer. And when we have both the hydrogens on the opposite of one another, or they are at a cross section, then it is going to be a trans isomer. So the correct answer is going to be but2ene. Now the next one, which of the following compound will exhibit geometrical isomerism? So geometrical isomerism means what? Again they are asking the cis and trans only. Again they are asking us a cis and trans. So the options are, so one should not go in detail with the options. By looking at the position of a double bond also we can decide whether the possibility of a cis and trans isomerism is there or not. So here it's ene. So in all the 4 options there is a ene, means what? There is a double bond, means chances of a cis and trans isomerism is there. But still, again, only having a double bond is not a criteria for a geometrical isomerism. The double bond must connect 2 different groups. The double bond must connect the 2 different groups. And whenever you have a double bond at the terminal carbon atom, in the sense at the last carbon atom, then that is going to have the hydrogens there. Mostly that will be having both hydrogen. And when a doubly bonded carbon has both hydrogen, then you cannot make either a cis or trans. Means a term is that when we have a doubly bonded carbon that must contain 2 different groups, then only you can change their positions. If it have similar groups, then you cannot change its position, then it cannot have a cis and trans. So here double bond is at second position, means chances of 2 different group is there. Double bond is at first position, there won't be 2 different group. Double bond again at the first position, no chances. Double bond again at first position, no chances. Means they just have a double bond, but they have a doubly bonded carbon with the similar groups, means they cannot exhibit a geometrical isomerism. Whereas one phenyl but2ene, the parent chain is but, 4 carbon atom. And what is the position of the phenyl? It's a first one, means C6H5 is at first carbon atom. Where is the double bond? It is at this second carbon atom. Now this is going to be S3. Here will be an hydrogen, 1 hydrogen here, and this is going to connect it to 2 hydrogen. So this is totally a 1 group and the hydrogens. So both are different. They are hydrogen and CH3. So both are different. So as here double bond contain a different group, double bond contain the different group, so therefore it can shows a cis and trans isomerism. Whereas in all other options, so double bond is there at the first position, then this is going to be H2. When both the atoms connected to doubly bonded carbon are similar, then though there is a pi bond, though there is a double bond, it cannot shows the geometrical or cis trans isomerism. Do remember, only having a double bond is not a criteria. The double bond must contain the two different groups. Now the next question. The 2-methyl butane on reacting with the bromine in the presence of sunlight gives mainly. So if you see a reaction, it's a 2-methyl butane, it's an alkene. Reaction of the bromine in presence of sunlight. So this is going to be an halogenation of alkene reaction. So the halogen they have taken is a bromine, so therefore it is going to be bromination of alkene, because the reaction is taking place in presence of sunlight. It is taking place in presence of sunlight. So the reactant here they have taken is 2-methyl butane. So parent chain is what, a butane. So 4 carbon will be there. So what is the position of methyl group? It's at the second position. So it is going to be CH3. And the parent chain is the alkene. So it is going to be H3, 3 bond, 1 hydrogen, 2 bond, 2 hydrogen, 1 bond, 3 hydrogen. So how many different type of carbons are there? So this is going to be connected to 1 carbon atom. This is also connected to 1 carbon atom. So they are similar of type. Whereas this is connected to 1, 2, 3 carbon atoms. So it is different. Whereas this is connected to 2 carbon atom. Even this is different. This is connected to only 1 carbon atom, but this carbon don't have an atmosphere as these two are possessing. So even that will be of a different type. Means in the given reactant, whenever we talk about an halogenation reaction, in an halogenation reaction, how many different hydrogens are there? That will be equal to the number of product. If there are 2 different hydrogen, 2 will be the product. If there is 1 different hydrogen, 1 will be the product. If there are 5 different hydrogen, 5 will be the product. So whenever you will be having a reaction based on sunlight presence, you need to try to focus the different number of hydrogen. So in our given reaction, there are totally 5 different hydrogens. So as the number of hydrogens which are different are 5. So possible product may be 5. But the question is, gives mainly, means they are asking you the major product there. They are going to ask you the major product. And in this reaction, there will be an homolysis. There will be an homolysis or homolytic cleavage of a covalent bond will take place. And whenever a homolytic cleavage will take place, it is going to form a free radical. It is going to form a free radical. So if you see the reactant, these both A type and D type, they are primary type of carbon. They are what? They are primary type of carbon. The C is connected to 2 carbon, means it is a secondary type of carbon. Whereas B is connected to 3 carbon, means it's a tertiary type of carbon. And the stability of tertiary free radical is more there. The stability of tertiary radical is going to be more there. So therefore, the product formed by replacing a hydrogen of a tertiary carbon will definitely a major product as compared to the C and AD. So if you see that, then it is going to be CH3, CH2. These two CH3 will remain as it is, and we are going to replace a hydrogen of the B carbon by the bromine. Then this is going to be your major product. So if you have its IUPAC name, because they have given the answers in terms of an IUPAC name, then a CH3 and the bromine is at the second position. Then alphabetically CH3 there's methyl and Br stands for a bromine. So it is going to be 2 bromo, 2 methyl. The total number of carbon are 4. So 4 corresponds to a butane. The 4 corresponds to a butane. So 2 bromo, 2 methyl butane is going to be the major product. So here options are 1 bromo, 2 methyl, 2 bromo, 2 methyl. So this is what? 2 bromo, 2 methyl. So option B will be the right answer in these questions. Now here, the compound which on ozonolysis produces a mixture of propanone and the ethanol. So ON stands for a ketone, OL stands for alcohol. So this is an ozonolysis reaction. So ozonolysis is shown by the alkene, and if the alkene has a symmetrical nature, then the product are going to be same, and if it has an unsymmetrical nature, the products will be different. So as the question says, there are two different products. As the question says, there are two different products, means alkene must be an unsymmetrical. So options are, it's an ENE alkene, even this is ENE alkene and YNE alkene. So option C will not be there because it's a triply bonded compound. So now ozonolysis, the compounds are what? Propanone and ethanol. So propanone will be having, prop stands for 3 carbon atom, ethanol, eth stands for 2 carbon atom. Means how many carbon atoms will be there total in the product? It is going to be 5. In the ozonolysis reaction, nothing will happen to number of carbon atom. The number of carbon atom from the reactant to product will remain as it is. The number of carbon atom from the reactant to product will remain as it is. Only alkene will changes to either an alcohol, aldehyde and the ketones. Means that whatever answers I am going to select, that must contain the 5 carbon atom. That must contain the 5 carbon. So C was already not there into the race. It's a 2 pentene, 5 carbon atom pentene means this is also a possibility. It's a 2 methyl but 2ene. Methyl group has 1 carbon atom, butene has 4, so 5 totally. Even this may be in the race. And this is a 2 methyl but 1ene. Methyl has 1 carbon, but has 4. Even this is also in race. Now try to see that this is a propanone. This is what? A propanone. And the other is what? An ethanol. Other is what? An ethanol. Means, see, in the ozonolysis, the CO and CHO, which is further connected to CO, will be connected to that carbon atom at that exactly position. It is going to have a double bond. At the same position, it is going to have the double bond. So you just convert OH into CHO and then join it. So CH3, C, CH3. So wherever there is going to be an addition of oxygen atom, there is going to be double bond. So it is going to be CH and that will be connected to CH3. That will be connected to CH3. If you break a bond here in the ozonolysis, oxygen will get added on both the sides. So then this will become CH3, CO, CH3, which is your propanone. Actually it is a 2 propanone, and CH3, CHO. CH3, CHO is an aldehyde. An aldehyde can undergo easily oxidation, so aldehyde get converted into alcohol. Aldehyde get converted into the alcohol. So this is what your ethanol means. This is your reactant which upon the ozonolysis can form a propanone, that is a 2 propanone and the ethyl alcohol. So what is the IUPAC name? 1, 2, 3, 4. So where is a methyl group? It has second position. So 2 methyl. How many carbons are there? 4. 4 stands for a but. What is the position of a double bond? Second. And the suffix is ene. So it's a 2 methyl but 2 ene. 2 methyl but 1 ene, 2 pentyl and 2 methyl but 2 ene. So option D will be the right answer. Next question. Methane can be converted into ethane by the reaction. Means we need to convert a methane into ethane. So if you roughly see the reaction, you are converting methane into ethane. Number of carbon atoms are increasing. And whenever number of carbon atom increases, such reactions are called as chain ascending reaction. They are called as chain ascending reaction. And whenever it is a chain ascending reaction, you will be having Ur's reaction. Because Ur's reaction is that reaction in which number of carbon atom in the reactant will get doubled into the product. If a reactant has 1 carbon atom, product will be having 2. If a reactant has 2, product is going to have 4. If a reactant has 3, product is going to have a 6. So you are converting a methane to ethane. So you are converting a methane in the sense ethane. So this is what? You are converting a methane to that of a ethane. In which reactions are followed. So Wool's reaction we need to go, but Wool's reaction, alkane do not show direct Wool's reaction. First alkane will converted into alkyl halide. Alkane get converted into the alkyl halide, and when such a 2 moles of an alkyl halide reacts with a sodium metal in a dry ether condition. Reacts with a sodium metal in a dry ether condition. Then halogen combine with the sodium, and then alkyl group get coupled. Alkyl groups are going to get joined there. So CH3 which is your ethane. So chlorination followed by Urge reaction. So in the chlorination you will be reacting a methane with a chlorine in a sunlight. Then one of the hydrogen get replaced. Then CH3Cl reacts with the CH3Cl with the sodium in a dry ether condition, and that is going to form a ethane there. So basically in the Urge reaction, the number of carbon atom from the reactant to product is going to get doubled if it is a different one. If you have two different halogen or a similar halogen in the one molecule, then there will be a cyclization. There is going to be a ring of formation. Acetophenone can be. So you are supposed to convert a benzene into acetophenone. So first you should know that what is the structure of acetophenone. If you know the structure of acetophenone, then only you will be able to get an answer. If you are not having a structure of acetophenone, then you are not supposed to get the answer for this. So acetophenone, so name itself suggests ONE, it's a ketone. Name itself suggests it's a ketone. And that is a phenone. Phenone means a benzene should be there. Aceto, so it is going to be CO. So this is your acetophenone. So benzene to acetophenone. They are converting a benzene into acetophenone. So this is what are electrophilic substitution reactions of benzene. And whenever we need a ketone, I need to go for acylation. If you are having a Urge reaction, that is for an alkane, Friedel-Crafts alkylation, you will substitute only alkyl group. Whereas a phenone means ketone, the Friedel-Crafts acylation. So the right answer is going to be C there. In benzene, each carbon undergo. In the chemical bonding also we were discussing about that. A carbon in the benzene has a double bond there. So double bond means it is going to be sp2. The electrophile involved in the sulfonation of benzene. Electrophile means basically it is going to be charged species, but not always it is going to be charged species. Electrophile means what? Roughly it is electron deficient. A deficiency of an electrophile can understand by two ways. One, either by charge or the central atom having less number of electron than that of an octet, or it is connected to more electronegative carbon atom. And we are having electrophilic substitution reactions of benzene are halogenation of benzene, Friedel-Crafts alkylation, Friedel-Crafts acylation, and the nitration. In these four electrophilic substitution reactions of a benzene, we are having charged electrophile. Whereas in the sulfonation, we are having a neutral electrophile. That is what? SO3, not the SO3 plus. In the nitration, chlorination, that is halogenation, alkylation, and the acylation, we are having charged. That is what? X plus, the CH3 plus, if you take an example, NO2 plus, and this is what? CH3CO plus. These are the electrophile involved into the all other electrophilic substitution reaction. Whereas for a sulfonation, we are having a neutral electrophile. Why SO3 is called as an electrophile? Because here sulfur is connected to most electronegative oxygen atom. So all three oxygen will withdraw the electron density from sulfur. They are going to be delta minus there. Then automatically sulfur is going to possess a delta positive charge. So partially it is going to have a deficiency. Then when a chlorine gas passed through the boiling toluene, we get. So it is a reaction of a chlorine with a toluene. So means this is also an electrophilic substitution reaction. So then you are going to have toluene, it is what? CH3. So you are reacting with a toluene, chlorine, reacting with a chlorine. So toluene is what? Electron donating group. It will donate the electron density to the ring. To whom it will donate? It will donate the electron density to the ortho and para position. Then chlorine is going to get converted into Cl plus, electrophile. Electrophile need an electron density. Then it will ask the CH3 what is the area where there is more electron density. Then CH3 will direct the chlorine to go at ortho para position. Then once it will go at ortho position, and it is going to form orthochlorotoluene. And other it is going to get at para position, and then it is going to form a parachlorotoluene. whenever any group which will direct incoming electrophile at ortho para, the products are going to be 2. So option A orthochlorotoluene, B parachloro, C both, and then none. So option C will be the right answer, because ortho as well as para both are going to be formed. The general formula of cycloalkenes. See, cycloalkene, how the cycloalkenes are formed? It is formed by the loss of one hydrogen from the alkene to form a ring, because it is in cyclo. Then what is the general formula of alkene? It is CnH2n plus 2. So if you form a ring there, you need to lose one hydrogen from each carbon. Then you just make a -2. So CnH2. So this is going to be a general formula of cycloalkene, which is going to be also a cyclo, that is alkene. So CnH2n. So CnH2n, because alkene changes to cycloalkene by the loss of 2 hydrogen. So you just subtract 2 hydrogen, so 2 minus 2 get 0, only 2n will be going to remain. So it is what? Cyclopropane, number of carbon 3, 2 hydrogen, and the 2 hydrogen. So number of hydrogen 6. So this is what a twice of that. So cycloalkane CnH2n. The salt producing hydrocarbon among the following. See, the hydrocarbon that produces a salt should have more acidic nature, because acid, when it reacts with a base, then only a salt can form. When an acid reacts with a base, then only a salt can form. So ethane is an alkane, even that is also ethane, methane. So these three are alkane. So it might be an ethane, methane, and this is what? Ethyne. So triple bond stands for sp carbon atom, double bond is going to be sp2, and single bond is going to be an sp3. And I told you in the chemical bonding, sp hybridization is more electronegative. So therefore alkyne forms a salt, because as they are more electronegative, they can release an hydrogen very easily. So as they can lose an hydrogen easily, they can form a salt easily. So whenever it is salt containing, it should be an alkyne. The alcoholic KOH leads a reaction. Alcoholic KOH, if it is an aqueous KOH, that will be a substitution. If it is alcoholic KOH, that is going to be elimination reaction. Elimination of what? Hydrogen and the halogen. So dehydrogen stands for just water. Dehalogenation, only halogen. Dehydrogenation, only hydrogen. Dehydrohalogenation means halogen as well as hydrogen. So this is what? Nucleophilic substitution reaction. So it is going to be elimination reaction. So answer is going to be dehydrohalogenation. Then 1 mole of a symmetrical alkene on ozonolysis gives 2 mole of aldehyde, having a molecular mass of 44 gram. The alkene is. So this is a quantitative based question. You are having X as a reactant which upon the ozonolysis is forming 2 mole of aldehyde, say A plus A, and each has a molecular mass 40 gram. Each has a molecular mass 40 gram. So the question is, which is this alkene? The question is, which is this alkene? So 44 grams. So you need to just get 44 gram. Then the possible alkynes are 1 butane, 2 butane, 1 butene, 1 pentene, 2 butene, and the ethane. So ethane, it's an alkane, it won't undergo ozonolysis. Now we remain, see the 2 molecules, and each molecule has the same mass. Each molecule has the same mass. That gives us an idea that as both molecules are having the same, the given alkene is symmetrical. 1 butene and 1 pentene are unsymmetrical alkene. 1 butene and 1 pentene are unsymmetrical, whereas 2 butene is what? Symmetrical. A 2 butene is what? Symmetrical. So as it is symmetrical, what respective aldehyde it is going to form? CH3CHO and that of an CH3CHO. So both are same. Number of carbon 2, so 12 into 2 is going to be 24. Hydrogen 4 plus oxygen 16. So 20, it is going to be 28. So therefore it is going to be 44 gram. Therefore it is going to be a 44 gram. The electrophile that participate in the nitration. So NO, NO plus, NO2 plus and NO2 minus. So directly it is NO2 plus, because the NO2 is going to be a nitration reactions. The number of possible alkynes with a formula C5H8. They have given the molecular formula. For that respective formula, you are supposed to write the number of possible alkynes. Then while writing that formula, getting a formula, try to understand whether the formula belongs to alkene family, or alkyl family. So it's a C5H8. It is a C5H8. So the number of carbon is what? 5, and hydrogen is what? 8. So if it is a 5 plus twice of plus 2, 10 plus 2 is going to be 12, that will be alkene. If it is twice of that, that is 5, 10, it is going to be an alkene. So minus of 2, it is going to be 8. So it means it's an alkyne. It is what? An alkyne. So how many possible alkenes? So totally 5 carbons are there. One possible arrangement is keep all the 5 carbonate in single chain. Second possibility, change the position of a triple bond. In the first case, I have taken a triple bond at the between first and second. I will go for second and third. Second possibility. Third possibility, I cannot still change the pi bonds position, because if I take it here, then it is going to be 1, 2, 2, 3, again it is going to be same. Then change the substituent, or you add just one substituent. So by adding one substituent, it is going to be possible. A triple bond here, you got a substituent here. You cannot take a substituent here because already it is 4 bond. So only one position. So 2 can be made by changing the position of the triple bond, 1 by changing the parent chain. So therefore the total possibilities are 3. The total possibilities are 3. Then cycloalkane formed when 1,4-dibromopentane is heated with the sodium. So we are getting a cycloalkane, and the given reactant is 1,4-dibromopentane. So 5 carbon atom, 1, 4. So 1, second, third, fourth. So 1,4-dibromopentane. So hydrogen is need not to be there, because directly we will be answering a product there. Means it is heated with sodium. So they are heated with the sodium, given it is a haloalkane, reactant is the sodium, means it is a Wurtz reaction. So Wurtz reaction, our 2 halogens get coupled there. 2 halogens are going to get coupled. So these 2 get coupled. Then automatically ring get formed here. So how many atoms will involve into the ring? 4 atoms. And this is going to be CH3, that will remain as an bond. So it is what? 1-methyl cyclobutane. So methyl cyclobutane, methyl butane, methyl cyclopentane, and the cyclobutane. So methyl cyclobutane is going to be the right answer, because it is at first position. Need not to compulsory mention the position there. Then we are having in which of the following homolytic bond fission will take place. So I told you in the explanation part, radical means homolysis. So free radical chlorination is going to be stated answer. Identify the following compound which exhibits geometrical isomerism. Again, it is the geometrical isomerism. Geometrical means cis and trans. And to be a cis and trans, there should be either a double bond or a ring. So option number 1 and 2 are having a double bond, E and E. 3 and 4 won't be an answer because it is an alkene. Then again that 2 butane, it's a 1 butane. I told you that only double bond is not a criteria. The doubly bonded carbon must contain the 2 different atoms. And the 2 different atoms is possible only when it is other than the first position. Here it is 1 butane, means it is connected to first carbon, and first carbon is going to have 2 similar groups. This won't be an answer. So 2 butane is going to be the right answer. The number of possible alkene with the formula C4H8. Like a alkyne, they are asking you for alkene. So it's a C4H8. Then one possibility is what? A double bond is there between first and second carbon. Second, it is there between second and third carbon. Then you cannot change the position. Go for a substituent. One substituent is there at the central carbon atom. You cannot go for this because it will again become a chain. So again here also the possibilities are 3 only. So here, which of the following functional group isomerism is not possible? So which compound will not have a possibility of the functional group isomerism? See, if any functional group has something common part into the other functional group, then only it can exhibit a functional group isomerism. Now alcohol O has a common part with an ether, aldehyde O has a common part with an ketone, cyanide CN, isocyanide NC, these are what a common part. Isomer of ether, aldehyde are functional isomer of ketones, cyanides are functional isomer of isocyanide, whereas alkyl halides are not having an, because halogen is not only a part into the other functional group, so alkyl halide is not going to be an answer. The principle involved in the paper chromatography. When it is a chromatography, it is because of an adsorption concept. The qualitative and quantitative part of your first year chemistry that involved a thin layer chromatography, paper chromatography, partition chromatography, different methods of sublimations, the purification method, the sublimation and that of an, we got a fractional distillation, we are having a solvent extractions. So here straight away adsorption, because chromatography is going to be based on adsorption. The maximum minus I effect is exerted by a group. Minus I stands for inductive. In this effect, the electron density is going to be taken, withdrawal of density, and positive I stands for donation of density. Similarly, we are having positive R and the negative R. Positive resonance will keep on donating, negative resonance is going to take a withdrawal. So minus I it is going to be based on. So who can take maximum? The one who take a maximum is going to be decided by electronegativity. So it's a carbon, oxygen, nitrogen and the air. So the race is between these two. Definitely oxygen can win the race there, but it is connected to carbon, which is donating, whereas here nitrogen is connected to oxygen, which is withdrawing. Means overall NO2 is going to be most withdrawing group, so that shows a maximum I there. Next, which of the following will not give a white precipitate when AgNO3 is added? So you are having a practical chemistry also in the salt analysis. Whenever the salt was containing a Cl minus, just by adding an AgNO3 solution, you used to get a white PPT. There. So when Cl minus is there, a chloride radical is there, then we can expect a white PPT. So options are CCl4, NaCl, MgCl2 and KCl. So all options are having a Cl minus. Now we need to understand who can form a Cl minus there. All are having Cl there, but who can form Cl minus will definitely give a white PPT upon reacting with the AgNO3. CCl4 is a covalent compound. NaCl, MgCl2 and KCl, these are ionic compound. An ionic compound can undergo easy ionization and they can form a Cl minus, means all they can show a white PPT upon reaction with the AgNO3. But CCl4 being a covalent, it won't undergo ionization. If there is no ionization, there is no radical. And if there is no radical, it is not going to have a reaction. So no PPT you can expect. Last two questions. The stability of carbocation can be explained by. So stability is based on two. One is going to be an inductive effect, because that carbon is going to get an electron density from the connected CH3 groups and it will become stable. And second is going to be hyperconjugation. So option C, because both are included in the option C. Then which method can be applied to separate a mixture of camphor and the sugar? So you are having an idea. Camphor undergoes sublimation, whereas sugar do not. So go for a sublimation method, because under the sublimation the camphor get evaporated and it gets separated. Sugar will remain there only. So by a simple sublimations one can separate. We can go for a crystallization also, but basically it is going to be a sublimation. Chromatography is not going to be, solvent extraction is also not going to be. So this is all regarding what some of the basic and the little bit average type of questions we had into the both the units of an organic chemistry. If you are having any doubts regarding any of the questions so far what we have discussed, first, whenever we talk about an organic, especially if I take the Jyoti and the Maratha Mandal student into the consideration. See, organic should not be an phobia. Organic can be an easy provided only when the basic are clear. So whatever in the explanation part I have taken the basic, try to recall all those basics, because when you recall those basics, then only you can expect the quantitative and the qualitative level of questions to will be answered easily. So this is what the different type of questions I wanted to take or I wanted to clear. So if at all any queries etc. are there, and how many different type of questions you are answering, that is going to be most important than solving a number of questions. Solving 100 questions is not going to pay that much of attention. Solving different number of questions, not number of questions, different number. So I have taken almost all the areas. Maybe an IUPAC, maybe a reaction, maybe a different method of purification separations, maybe the qualitative test etc. So try to focus on different aspects. So otherwise it is going to be not that easy as we expect, and try to focus over these 2 units. The reason is that they are again going to give you a continuity in the second year organic sections. They will give you a continuity into the second year organic chemistry. So this is for today's class. So I'll see you in the tomorrow's class and the next 2 videos, and I'll be talking about equilibrium from the first year chemistry. That is a physical chemistry section, equilibrium. So till then, goodbye. I'm an icon, man. And my girl about a 10. I should fuck her in a bed.